Hey, we're live.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody. We are recording another episode of my podcast, It's Funny You Ask, and I've got Alyx here today. I'll introduce her in a moment. She's speaking at Abundantly You in March, and she's going to talk about your period. It's funny because when I say period at my house, that is not the reaction I get. There is no whoop after period talk. They're 11 and 13, and then I've got my husband, and nobody's whooping the periods in my house right now. We're all very scared. All right, so I'm going to get this recording started and kind of introduce you here. So, unable to access the microphone. Good. We just tested it, So, this is good news. Hold, please. Oh, yeah, leave the page. It just said, we can hear you. Great.
Gotta love technology and all the cords and connections. And
It's great. Oh, we've got it now. All right, we've got Alyx. Say your last name.
Coble-Frakes.
Coble-Frakes. The Coble part I can get.
It's the Frakes part.
Because there's no N. And my brain looks at it and just stutters.
Everyone tries to say Franks. And I'm
Yes.
like, there's no invisible N. It's
Right.
not a trick. It's just Frakes. It rhymes with cakes. And people are like, oh.
Cakes and Frakes. Now I can say it. That is really helpful because I tell people my name is Eris like Paris. And then they're like, oh. Because if I say Eris, they're like, my mouth doesn't know how to make those words. So you have I want to talk a little bit about your product and then a lot about who you are because you are a really dynamic human. And you're welcome. I met you decided to come to our conference and I was like, oh good, another coach. Which, by the way, every single human being that comes to speak at my conference that's a coach, I say that to all of you. I promise. I'm like, oh, good, another one. And then they blow me away, and I'm like, wow, I should have more coaches. So, to be fair. But you connected with Rena Jensen, who is a much more abundant human being in her thought process than I am. And so she was really excited to get to know you, and you came to the conference, and we couldn't wait to explain. So you do some coaching, some like nutrition, health, wellness coaching, that sort of thing?
Yeah,
right?
I do holistic health coaching and I really focus on mindset and like what can we control because we tend to get so caught up in trying to control everyone else's business.
Yeah.
My Facebook feed has been a brilliant example of that this week, trying to control what everyone else is doing rather than controlling our own emotions, our own thought processes.
Yes.
Because that's really all that is within our control. So if we're having a bad time, it's like, ooh, this is a good time for me to look inward and understand why am I miserable right now? Because I can blame this person or that person or that person, but it really comes back to us. So
that's like the synopsis of your health coaching.
Yeah.
But you have a crazy, cool thing blowing up right now. When I first heard about this, I was like, huh. So interesting. Now, long story short, you teach women, this is my perception, you correct me or
yeah.
go. You teach women how to use their monthly cycle and all of the emotions there within and things to plan out their month in a more effective way.
Yes.
Is that pretty
That's
good?
Perfect.
You and I'm like, what do you mean? And you're like, well, certain times of the month you feel unproductive and fat and crazy. So maybe don't have some business meetings that week. And so you help people understand also the education part of like what these different phases of your cycle mean when your body's doing different things. And that was mind blowing to me. I was like, no one has ever explained this to me in my entire life. So how, like, I don't necessarily need all the history, but like, how are you educating people? What are you up to?
Yeah. So first of all, we're really just telling people about the 4 phases. We think about we hear the word cycle and we think of our period, but we really have menstruation, follicular phase, the ovulation phase. That's the other one people have heard about. They're like, oh, the ovulation, like some kind of egg something is happening.
I'm ovulating and then I'm bleeding and in between I'm losing my mind.
Right. And right. So kind of showing, and then the luteal phase is the last phase. So really just getting people to understand what those 4 phases are. And
what our bodies are
doing, because the hormones are interacting with our bodies. We actually end up being about 25% different depending on where we're at, because of how the hormones are interplaying with our brain and our body, based on what sex hormone is dominant, whether that be estrogen or progesterone or testosterone at the time. And
which most people probably don't even know we have all of those things. Like, we think we have estrogen. The end.
Yep. There are all these like complicated, and there are even a few other hormonal players, like the luteinizing hormone, all these fancy words and stuff. So cool. But what we can really know is, like, when we talk to women, they're like, oh yeah, I do feel different at different times of the month.
So you put this into a book, into a planner, and then you not only just give people this planner, you don't just say good luck. Like, you help walk them through it through education, through a Facebook group, and you're working on an app. And so, like, all of that stuff is amazing. And it's, like I said, it's interesting. Like, this is not stuff you're taught. Always this happens. Let me just try to shut that down. Nope, it won't happen. So okay, good. So Jayleen just popped on, my sister, and I mean, we are very different people. And Jayleen rides the emotional roller coaster in a way that I'm like, holy cow, you should try this planner. And she's like, oh, I just can't do those things. So it was really interesting when she first got into it. And now she's like one of your biggest cheerleaders. Like, she can't wait to tell people about what you have going on. So I think that's awesome that, like, you can, like, you're turning people that might be skeptical or might feel like, that's a bunch of baloney. Yes. Into believers in a really short period of time.
I think it's this pattern is going on. We understand circadian rhythms. We get, I should sleep because that's what my body needs, but we're not taught to understand that we have this other, as women, this infradian rhythm. This is a longer rhythm than 24 hours. And Elisa Vitti just put out a book talking about it. But what it means is they're the hormonal patterns. Unlike men who kind of do the same thing day in, day out, women are doing this fluctuation on a 28 to 35 day rotation.
Right.
So we can all learn about it and learn to acknowledge it, but we've had to disconnect and shove it down for so long, because women a lot of times had to go along to get along in business, in their career. And so I think we're so excited about the empowerment of just working with how your body works.
So do you think women, when they start to learn about, like, what their bodies are doing, do you think that they are then able to, like, to handle, like, emotional outbursts or reactions better? Like, Absolutely. Is that what's happening? So, like, okay, I know my body's doing this right now. I'm probably a lot more sensitive. And, like, even just that knowledge, like the awareness.
100%.
Is that cool? Like, that's working?
Yeah, Very because cool. They just say, oh, okay, now I just know that's going on and I don't have to take it as personally. Or maybe I use it
I can evaluate this next week.
I can evaluate it later. I can take that gut reaction and then I'm like, oh, what's really going on? And kind of take that information to partner with myself, with my family, with my kids, with my husband. You know, it helps relationships. And it's really just been grounding and empowering for our users.
That's so cool. All right. Now, I know things about you because we spent a whole day together at Women Lead Change as vendors. And we went to lunch together, and so you already know I'm an inquisitive human being. Like, this, probably why this podcast is working so well. I really love finding out about people. And one of the coolest things I found out about you, so I told you when we were at Women Lead Change last year that I was headed to Guatemala, and your whole face, like, lit up. So you've spent some time in Guatemala, you spent some time in Peru. What were you doing?
I don't know exactly where this came from. I'm a girl from Iowa. I grew up in Iowa, but I always knew I wanted to travel. Always wanted to travel. And so when I was in 10th grade, my Spanish teacher had led a trip, and he said, we're going back to Guatemala. If you guys are interested, in the next couple of months, we'll have some more information. So I went up to him after class and I said, how much money do I need to go on this trip? And he's like, whoa, like, do you want to, like, talk to your parents? Like,
You're like, no, I'm going.
I'm like, well, we'll figure that they'll be fine, but how much money do I need so that I can start fundraising? So little did I know that was my first experience in a startup, really, was fundraising for my trip to Guatemala and, like, having to ask people tough questions to get the money and resources that I needed to go. But I just knew I needed to explore beyond Iowa. Iowa's amazing, but I knew there was just a lot of the world I wanted to check out. And when I went to Guatemala, I was 15. It was the first time I went, and it really started to shift and shape who I was as a person. I saw things that were intense and challenging maybe, but also saw people who were extremely happy and so full of care and joy. And it was really...
Was that your first experience of like seeing people that were happy that had so much less than you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they really, I mean, I've traveled there myself just last year, and they really have, most people have very little. And at least the people I was exposed to. And I was like, wow. Like, but they were very happy people. And then, so that was your first, like, travel bug?
That was my first travel bug, and then I did not stop traveling. I actually, if my mom ever sees this, she'll remember and shake her head, but all my money I got from my high school graduation money that you're supposed to use, like, responsibly for books or something. I bought another ticket and went back to Guatemala for almost a month before I went to college.
You went to Guatemala for a month right before college.
With all my money that I was supposed to use towards pens and pencils and important things. But I really think, it was another really important travel experience that started to shift my...
So, like, fear doesn't really... Like, that... I mean, I remember when I was going to Guatemala, that people had fear for me to be there. Like, they were like, I don't know if it's safe there. So you didn't have that?
No, not at all. Because I found... Maybe, and that was being some of my naiveness being from Iowa, but I'm like, well, I think if you ask for what you need and you're kind to people, that people will be kind to you. And that has been my experience in every country I've been to. I've been to almost 20 countries.
20.
And I've always...
We don't have even enough time to go through all 20. But, so you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And how good was your Spanish when you went the first time? I mean, I know how my high school Spanish was.
my Spanish when I went to Guatemala the first time was not fantastic.
You could ask where the bathroom was. You could figure out like how to say hello and goodbye and maybe order something with cheese.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And I think that was another important lesson for me early on, to be able to try something anyway, even if you're not good at it. Mm-hmm. And to not give up, and to be willing to look like a fool long enough to get it right.
Yeah.
Because to learn a second language, you have to be willing to mess up a lot of times.
Yeah, I would imagine. Like, people must laugh at you quite a bit.
Oh, all the time.
When you're trying to say something.
All the time.
When you went to, so you've been to all these countries, but you met your husband in Peru.
Yeah.
So your husband is Peruvian. That's the right way to say it, right?
Yep.
I mean, so you've had long distance relationships. You met there, you went back there and got married, right?
Yeah.
Like, you told me this story, and I'm not even sure how you guys made it to the altar, frankly.
We met when I was in the Peace Corps. So I did the Peace Corps after college, and I went to Peru, and we met. I don't know if I told you this part, but we met because he added me on Facebook, and I never accepted any friend requests from guys I didn't know. For smart reasons, right, ladies? Like, be careful for stalkers.
Right.
But he was so cute.
I was just like, he's a handsome man. And I was like, ooh. So did you like...
I was like, it's worth the risk if he's a catfish, because if he's real, dang. Like, he's so cute. So I added him, and
Not good advice, ladies.
Not good advice. Don't listen to me. Don't do that. But he actually thought I was a catfish, because he was a police officer in Peru at the time, and there was a lot of trafficking that had gone on with people using fake profiles with like white lady pictures, because we seem unassuming or something.
I get all of these, I don't know what kind of weird fake friend requests you get, but mine are all old military men.
Yeah.
Do you get those? A lot of those,
yeah.
None of them are hot Peruvians. They're all like old men in military uniforms, and I'm like,
this is not real. This is not your real profile.
I mean, I know I'm 40, but like, is this what I'm attracted to? Like, is this what they're assuming? So anyway, and here the Peruvian men are getting catfished by hot blondes.
Yeah. So I was like, I've seen too many episodes of Catfish. So I asked him if he would Skype me. I was like, that'll get him. If he's fake, he won't agree to it. And then we both showed up to this Zoom or Skype call, and we were both real, and we were both a little shocked.
So when you were living there then? You were there with the Peace Corps then?
Yep.
And how long were you there the first time?
I was there for about 2 years.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
Yep.
So you guys have this, like, how long into that did you meet your husband?
About a year.
Okay.
About a year. And so we dated for, the next year of my service, and then I came home, and then we did long distance for an entire year. I didn't see him for an entire year. We just lived through like Skype and FaceTime.
Some of us that are married are like, not seeing your husband for a year. Maybe.
Like, not so bad. But
I could use missing him occasionally. But
yeah, it kind of kept some intrigue, and I went back and we still really liked each other, and so we're like, well, let's do this. So we got married like 2 months later after that. So we've been dating for over 2 years, and then we started the visa process, which was
long and cruel.
Over a whole year, very expensive.
How's his English?
He came, when he finally got here, he did not speak English.
Really? So you were speaking Spanish. So your Spanish got really good.
Really good.
Okay, so here's what we were talking about before that I want to talk about. So in the Facebook world, I keep seeing these posts about streams of conscious, people talking about having a running dialogue in their head. What do they call it? I don't know.
Yeah, like the
a voice.
Unconscious.
Yeah, a voice always talking to you in sentences in your voice. And I was very intrigued by that because I don't really have that. Like I have to really try. And I keep catching myself now that I've read about this. So if you haven't heard this, you're probably like, what the hell are you talking about, Kendra? But I have to keep thinking about it. I'm like, nope, I'm certainly not thinking right now. Like,
you're like, nothing.
And then I think that, but like, I asked you, I'm like, so when you have a second language that you speak a lot, so you must have spoken Spanish a lot. Yeah. Through the time when you're in the Peace Corps, while you're traveling, and then even when you came home, because you brought your husband here who speaks Spanish.
And there's a beautiful growing Latino population in Iowa, and so there are like more opportunities than I ever anticipated to be helpful and to be able to speak with people. Yeah. So all the time I use Spanish like almost daily. So,
really?
Yeah.
So do you find yourself in like opportunities, because there is a growing population of people that speak Spanish here, but there's also, a huge disconnect with the people that don't speak any Spanish. So do you find yourself like in places where you're able to help, like all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, isn't that
It's
funny?
happened in stores, at the farmer's market, wherever, just really being able to support and kind of help bridge that gap.
Yeah, my sister said, you don't? What? Are you one of those that see words? No, I don't see words. I don't know. Like, I have thoughts, but like, I guess I
it's
just...
not like all the time.
No.
Like me, it's all the time. In my brain is always like words.
Yeah,
thoughts.
like, so it goes back when people say, like, we were talking about meditation, and you were saying when you meditate, sometimes, like, when you're nice and relaxed and, like, English is gone and you're not supposed to be thinking, like, Spanish will come creeping into your meditative thoughts to disrupt you.
Yeah,
your brain disrupting.
Because it's like quieter than English, so my brain doesn't register it as quick in meditation. So I'll have this like sneaky Spanish that comes in, and then I'm like, oh wait, hey buddy, no, not of any language.
That sneaky Spanish guy is earworming.
Right in there.
Yes, they're so handsome. That's what happened to you. So that is really, really interesting. But no, and I actually find you would think that would make meditation easy, but I find it really hard. I do see like checklists, like I see to-dos in my head, but I'm not like having a conversation about it. I'm like,
you like actually see the words.
Not the words, like just like the idea of, oh, go do that. Like,
interesting.
Like ideas pop into my head, but it's definitely not
like a stream all the
time.
It's
not a talk. We're not talking. Like, when people say, oh, you think in your head, oh, that was dumb. Like, I would catch myself saying that out loud. Like if I did something dumb, but
not inside yourself.
Not usually. Not unless like the only time I really feel like I do it often is when I was telling you, when I have to introduce myself. Like, especially if I have to, like, go up, I have 30-second elevator speech or something. And I'm like, because I have, like, 67 businesses and things that I do. So which elevator speech am I giving? So I'll run that through my head, but it never comes out the same way. But that's probably normal, right?
Yeah.
So cool. So in all of your traveling and all over the world, and now one of the other cool things about you, so you're doing this huge thing with the agenda. You're making waves with that. You're out meeting people. You're gone all the time. I see you bouncing all over the place, speaking on your platform. And meanwhile, your husband has gone and he's chasing his dreams too right now. Yeah. What is he up to? Like, this is so cool what her husband's doing, I think, especially as a foreigner, what he's doing.
So he finished his underwater welding certification this summer in Florida. So he did 5 months learning how to become an underwater welder. And now he is in Georgia at basic training. So he's becoming an active duty military member of the United States Army. And so that's been a key point in our relationship, that we are the focal point, but that we get to orbit around this love because we are free to go do the things, chase the dreams, and like really continue to have a grounding point.
He was in the police force in Peru.
Yeah.
So it's, serving the public in that like big badass guy way is like on his heart. It's like something he wants to do. And so now, in all of this that you're doing, you're also going to be a military wife.
Yeah.
And that's a huge responsibility. I mean, like, it gets me like emotional thinking about, because I've had family members and, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes with that. So I think it's awesome. First of all, thank you for doing that for us. But there's a lot that goes into it, and watching you continue to chase your dreams and allowing him to chase his, it's really beautiful. I mean, it's what you would, it's not easy. Like, I can't even imagine how not easy it is on a marriage to go through that, but really, really cool to watch you guys kind of go after those American dreams.
It is definitely challenging, and I think what would be more challenging is, I see this with clients that I've had or friends or people that I know, is the resentment that gets built up in a marriage or a relationship for not being who you really are. And for not having this space to truly be accepted for who you are. And so being able to create that together, to really honor the separate and the whole, has just been really, really cool.
And it's a great example of marriage. It's a great example of love. It's a great example of sacrifice. Like, that's really awesome. And I think sometimes we forget how sacrificial love is supposed to be, or is. Like, it really is. I mean, like I said, sometimes my husband could go away for a year. That'd be okay. Sometimes I need that. So I'm a little jealous. No, I'm kidding. But, sorry, Eric. He's not listening anyway. He's too busy. But I mean, I guess I kind of get it, because he's busy chasing the stuff that he needs to do in life too right now. My husband is, and there's a lot of support back and forth. But
I think you both do a really great job of that too, of really supporting both businesses and careers, and having that autonomy while still coming back together.
Extracurricular leadership, we're both in.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to call it.
I love that. I love that. Extracurricular leadership.
Right, because it doesn't come with a paycheck, but it comes with impact, and it comes with personal growth. It's funny when people talk about, when they thank me for leadership stuff that I've done for them, I'm like, you have no idea how much I'm taking from you. Like, I really am. Like, the lessons that come back are tenfold. So, like, that's why I thank other people for allowing me to be in a leadership role. And so you found yourself in a leadership role with this, did you anticipate that when you were first starting this? Like,
no, I was like, I'm going to make a tool. I'm going to make a thing that I need. And if other people want it, great. We'll make a side business. I think I saw Sunny, my co-founder, pop on. I was like, hey, Sunny, do you want to do like a fun side project? And then it took over our lives.
And Sunny, she is your partner. You felt like you needed, I guess just somebody that would help legitimize, because you have no history in women's reproductive medicine, or
besides my own body. That was it. I hadn't worked with other women, and Sunny had a really great background in, that was her coaching specialty, was really working around fertility and female hormonal health.
Right.
So, and I also just
help legitimize you. It helped you understand maybe all human bodies, not just your own. Yeah. And
just working in collaboration, we're able to, like, when people are surprised how much we've done so quickly, it's because we're in team. Right. I think particularly as women, we can get really siloed, or thinking it's not safe to work with other women, or we can't collaborate because that woman is my competition, because we've seen, there's only so many spots for us to be powerful, so can't collaborate with her, she's my competition.
Right.
And so really having somewhere where we can truly collaborate with each other, and
that's really cool.
being able to work together. I know it's made our business grow more quickly.
Yeah, and it's really apparent that you guys are finding harmony in working together. And I'll say it that way because any partnership is ups and downs. Like, I don't care if it's a marriage or a friendship or a business partnership or, even a collaboration where there may not be, money shared between the two of you. Like, it's up and down, but you see a real harmony with you guys, and that you have different strengths to bring to the project, which is really cool. I've been now, on a really personal note, and I think I haven't talked about this at all. I don't have a period so I thought, well, she can't help me. And it turns out you can. Can you share how you are helping people when they are, I'm on how personal we want to get right now? You guys want to know about my periods that I don't have for 15 years?
Periods. And Kendra's like,
I have 11 and a 13-year-old. Like, I feel like all the period education is coming. It's so close. It's so close. But you do help women that don't. And gosh, I told her before, I don't want to talk only about the agenda. I want to talk about you, but here I am because it is so interesting. So how are you helping women that are taking
birth control, or maybe hysterectomy, pregnant, postmenopausal? Well, there's a lot of research out there around how the moon cycle is pretty mimicking of the menstrual cycle, of our own menstrual cycle when it's in working order. And so when that's legit, because if there's a full moon, people be cray. So it's got to be, right? Yeah. Right. And so we have it actually in the agenda to show them how to use the moon cycle instead of their own cycle if they're missing that. And one of the comments that was really heartwarming that we've gotten from some of our postmenopausal clients are I feel so grounded and reconnected to myself because I missed, as much as I complained about it, it was weird when it was gone because we got so used to having this cyclical rhythm in nature, and so to have something to ground back into again has been really powerful.
Because even if you don't understand what the hormones are doing to your cycle, you know damn well that something's going on. You're like, oh, my period came today. Yeah, no wonder I've been psychotic the last 2 days. I've heard people say that for years. Yeah. So, she says postmenopausal doesn't mean anything. I still have moods, for sure. And I think that we all know that, I don't know what the moon does, but we know it affects tides. We know it affects a lot of things on the earth. And it definitely, I used to work in a nursing home, and I thought the whole moon thing was crap until I worked in a nursing home. And on a full moon, whoo! And preschool teachers will tell you that. And to me, those two populations, I worked with mostly Alzheimer's patients. Those two populations have no ability to know, oh, hey, it's a full moon, I'm going to go ahead and act crazy.
But it just happens.
They just do it. And you're like, what's going on tonight? And you're like, oh, it's a full moon. Go figure. Yeah. So that's awesome. And then upcoming, you want to start working with teens.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
How many of us? I'm sitting here on the brink of period chatter in my home, and I'm like, please help me. We have some hormonal dips right now, but I know it's coming. Dear Lord, baby Jesus, it's coming.
Yeah, we actually got asked by an awesome woman, Amy Williams, in Cedar Rapids. She works with the Girl Scouts here.
Yes.
And so we're going to be creating a course, and we've already put the framework together. So we will be putting that out, the first one on March 27th. So if you're a Girl Scout leader or something.
And how many moms wouldn't want to just be like, yes, because they get the education at school. But my kids haven't come home from the education at school really understanding.
Mine was so minimal. It really didn't explain what I needed.
The funniest thing about that, so you know how they always show you that side cutout of a person's body and what's in there? I had no idea what that was. I had no idea which angle or perspective anybody was coming at. And I remember being like, I don't feel like I'm shaped that way. And looking at other people they aren't either. I didn't realize they cut half the body away. I had no idea it was coming from this direction, not this direction. I was like, So it was really confusing. And I tried to get my kids to ask me questions, and they just, it's hard. It's like pulling teeth to get them to ask questions. So that's awesome that'll be coming. I'm sure, how much do you want to fast forward? It's got to be really hard being in the trench. You are in the shit of it right now, right?
I just like want the app now. Like I want it to exist
and
now.
Are you so tired of people asking about an app?
Not anymore, because I'm like, I'm there with you. Like I want it to happen, but like
that was the first thing I heard people ask her when she brings out this beautifully curated book that she spent, I'm sure, bajillions of hours of designing, and people are like, cool. Yeah, but I would really like it on my phone, and she's probably like,
I will kill all of you. Like, I will be done with this project. The next person who says the word app to me, like,
you had to have felt that way though.
I did. I was like, I'm not doing it. Yeah. I'm not going to do it.
No, you guys can write your shit
You can
down.
make your own app, or you can take this book and be happy with it. But then I really started to take a step back and understand the scope and the possibility for impact, because the further that I went into this project, the more I saw, like, we all need this work. Yeah. And the paper is great. I love it. It is beautifully designed.
It is pretty. I mean,
it's beautiful.
You would be proud to carry it around, and then when people say, oh, what kind of planner do you have, you'll literally be like, I have a period planner. Like, that's what I'm hearing people do. I watch them do it, and I'm like, yep, here we are. Yeah. 2020, kids. 2020, but I graduated in 1997. I hardly even understood what a period was, and I don't think we've come much further in all of this time. We've not come very far.
No, we really haven't, and that's why I'm so honored to be working on the app and to be in this space, because I know the scalability and the reach that this can have and the impact that this can have for women across the globe is...
Can you imagine? Like, you're going to wake up in a place and remember this time. It's going to be good. You're going to remember this time and what got you here and all the 20 countries along the way. But, like, I mean, you also are... I mean, your vision is big for the world. And for people that are in probably a lot of the countries that you visited, if you were with the Peace Corps, that don't have any education, resources, tools, or even just the daily sanitary things that people need to manage their bodies during that time. Like, I mean, really, like, your vision is ginormous.
And it's so intersectional. It's something that affects us on every level that I didn't even realize. It, like, holds people back from school. It holds people back from jobs. I mean, even women here have said, like, and if you're working in an hourly job, having to call in and losing days because of the amount of pain you're in from not understanding your body. It affects women and people who menstruate at every single level of their lives.
And you're even, Jayleen told me, you are even helping people understand how to eat and how to nourish their bodies to help with reduce pain and deal with all this. I will link it, Rashawn, in the description. It's already linked. It's called the Agenda Period. It's a period cycle, because it's not just for your period.
It's for the whole cycle, to really
your everyday life and managing your life based on your hormones. So,
but if people are listening and are wanting more, we have the cycle Reintroduction Group that's free on Facebook, and that's where we're doing a lot, talking about the supplements, the food.
Too. Yeah, my sister's super excited about that. She's like, I'm gonna eat a handful of seeds, and I'm like,
she's been so good. She showed us her seeds the other day. She's like, I've never been this excited for seeds.
She is one of the crunchiest people I know, but she uses a tea. She sells tea, and she uses a tea that helps. It's called
raspberry leaf.
I don't know. It's called Feminity.
Yeah.
Femininity. I'm getting off track with my voice. It was fun to say, but she talks about that all the time. How it helps. So it's herbal, and it's something that non-pill popping, which is great, right?
I think that's probably the reason. If I put my tinfoil hat on, like, we can do so much of this for fun and for free by, like, getting in tune with our own body, and that's pretty antithetical to the way that a lot of our systems work, to try to get people to spend a ton of money on doing all of these different things and taking pills. And if they get you on birth control, and then we'll get a hysterectomy, and we'll get you on all these.
Well, how many people go on birth control just to help with cramps?
Yeah, when instead of saying, like, let's switch the foods that we're eating before we try that.
Yeah, and maybe it won't work. Maybe you'll end up needing
something else
later,
but knowing what to try.
Yeah. There's no education around that. So that is so lady tea, Jayleen calls it. Jayleen, do you know what's in it? What's in your... Why is she not told... Oh, raspberry leaf is one of the 3 ingredients. Why has she not told you about this?
I don't know.
Why are we finding this out on Facebook Live, Jayleen?
Come on, post about it. I want to hear about this lady tea that you sell, Jayleen. Tell us about it.
She's gonna chug the lady tea.
Eat some
shot
seeds.
of tea, shot of seeds.
Get you rocking and rolling.
Walking around with stuff in her teeth all day. That's too funny. I am really excited for you. And you, the other thing that I'm going to check my time here because we're good. The other thing I wanted to point out is, as far as like opportunity goes, you are from a very small community in southeast Iowa, right? From the Fairfield area.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we come from a small place in a small town, we put this boundary that there's no one around me. I can't reach people, or, I don't have a market because I come from a small place. And you're a really good example. When I met you, this wasn't a thing yet. So this has been a year.
Yeah.
And you have made this much impact in a year. And so tell people your goal with your number.
My goal is global menstrual equity, that every person who menstruates on the planet will have access to the supplies they need around their cycle, will have the education to deeply understand their body, and then the opportunity and choice to become empowered if they want to.
So you're literally talking about like 3.5 billion people. Which
in my lifetime.
Yeah, which is obviously, but you always say it with such like confidence. And the cool thing about that is, like, will you ever reach every single person? Probably not. But it's really, like, this is the big thing about big goals that I want people to know so deeply. It's not about reaching the goal. It's about the effort and what you become while you're trying to reach it. So if you don't put your goal on every single person that menstruates on the planet, if you don't say it like that, then there's a stopping point.
Yep.
And then that's scary.
And it causes us to be creative because I can't do it alone, right? Like that, I need the Jayleens, I need the Kendras, I need the people who are excited and who help me amplify this. And it forces me to get creative and connect to women already doing this work and say, hey, can I join your network? Like, I'm doing something kind of similar. Can we be friends? Like, can we join together?
But you mean it genuinely. You are so genuine. And, that's really phenomenal. So thank you for the work that you're doing. I'm so proud to know you. I'm so proud to have known the beginning and watched this and going, whoo, this girl's got, whoo. It's crazy. It's so good. It's so good. And you really are like just the best person. Every time I see you, do you ever have a bad day?
Oh yeah.
Which phase is that?
Me and the luteal phase have got some work to do. We're working on it. We're working on our connection and our communication skills.
After I learned about I have your agenda, I learned about the luteal phase in there and understanding what it is, and I call it the Lucifer phase. That's like the word that pops into my head. Because
that's how I feel now, but I'm trying to switch it to the lovely luteal phase so I can have a different reaction with it.
Laugh about it. It's funny.
I do. It is. Yeah. So that's the phase that I gotta check because I can be a very blunt person. So I gotta the bluntness can come out.
Maybe that's why I really like you. I'm like, oh, right where you stand. Right where you stand. Well, that's awesome. I will link all the places you can find you on Facebook. Look up the Agenda Period. What's your website?
theagendaperiod.com.
Very good. You can check it out there. If you for the little bit of money that planner costs, it has such a wealth of information. So what is the cost on it?
It's $55 for 6 cycles.
So go buy it and check it out and try it. And I promise you, even if it's like not something you're able to stick to for whatever reason, I promise you have somebody in your life that needs the information. And just sharing, because like she said, she wants people to have the education and the tools and the resources. Yeah. So that, sharing all of that stuff is even sharing like this video, sharing if you're watching it on live or if you're listening to the podcast, sharing the podcast so people know, that's worth its weight in gold for you, right?
Yeah. Right. And just like you said earlier, like the awareness really starts to crack people open. And so even if it doesn't become your favorite lifelong planner, it will shift how you see yourself. Mm-hmm. Because understanding and being able to be in an embodied female body and leadership is really what the world needs right now. And it will start to work its way into your soul, even if you just like read
it has info. Me. And like I said, I am not your target market. I not only don't have a period, I am not a hormonal shifter. Because I am probably just ADHD or manic most of the time or something. Like, I mean, I can diagnose myself with all kinds of stuff, but you know, I run until I die, and then I dip for about a day, and then I come right back up. Like, I am, but so, and I move past things very quickly, but I've learned that is not very normal, and people need the understanding. Like, I've started to understand my team more. I've started to understand my friends more. My sister, I've started to understand her more. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, there's this happening. So even for those of us that maybe, I mean, I have your planner. I've been studying the moon phases and checking all of that out, and it's just really good to be educated and be aware. Yeah. So you're doing that work, even for people that aren't necessarily your target market. So good job. That's a hard bill of sale, man. You think? Yeah. Anything else you want people to know?
I just want everyone to know that whatever your dream is, wherever you come from, wherever your current circumstances, we can really start to shift the way we see ourselves. And I really just want to say, like, the work that you've done, the community that you have created was really one of the things that helped us really explode this at the beginning. The people I met at the conference, the people that I met, you know, that group of women. And so...
And you came as an attendee.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't come with an agenda to speak. You didn't come with and now you are a speaker. But that was not your agenda. Like, and so that first, like, push came from...
Just being there.
Just networking with people.
And so if you don't think you have the resources right now to do whatever your dream is, get different people at your table, because with the right circle, you can bring anything that you want to bring to the world.
And that means like the world to me, because that's what U Conferences is supposed to be doing. And it's really hard to explain that to people. Like, just get in the room, sit down, and watch the magic happen. And it
magic. Does. No better word for it.
It is magical. Magic. Like, and that was not my intention when I started it. My intention was to inspire people to go after their dreams. It was not my intention to build community. That happened because the right people got in the room. Yeah. And it happened because the right people got in the room, and they showed me, because they came to the conference, and then I would see them on Facebook doing awesome things together. And I'm like, they didn't even know each other before they came. That's cool. And then it just kept happening and happening and happening over and over again. And do you know what our group, what we're planning on having there? Mm-mm. At 250. We are planning for 250 people in that room. 250 people. It's March 24th and 25th, or 25th and 26th. Wait, what does that thing say right there?
25th and 26th.
25th and 26th.
We got it.
It's all day on the 26th. There's a networking event on the 25th. But like, you were part of it when I think the first one you came to.
It was just 70, one day.
Yeah, we had 70 attendees, and that was huge. And now we will be like some number beyond that. That's math, and I don't know. So,
yeah, it's
and
just.
But partly because of people like you. Like, so it's so cool how.
I don't think I ever told you this, but I was like, it's in Iowa. Like, I've been to really cool conferences. Mm-hmm. Not to brag or anything. I was like, I've been to
20 countries.
Cool stuff.
I've been to some things.
I was like, how cool is this going to be in Iowa? Because Iowa gets a bad rap for a lot of stuff. We get, there's a lot of haters.
Now we got a new one.
A lot of haters.
Caucus thing.
The caucus,
we ruined the caucus. Somebody said, I just got done convincing people that I don't live in a cornfield, and then our caucus app broke.
Exactly. But I was blown away at what was in my own backyard. And for people to have that kind of access is incredible. And I can't wait to see it keep growing, because it is so special. Yeah,
we're going to grow together. So cool. Okay, I've gone way over my time today, which is fine. Because this is awesome. Thank you for coming to town and for sitting with me and doing this. I really can't wait to see what happens next. And, you guys go check her page out. Go like her page. Show her that my people are listening and that they do what I ask them to do. And go like her page and absorb that information. But I'll link your group as well.
Awesome.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. See you later.